Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Esther Oshati, content lead at Fairphone. Today I have with me Kuburat Abubakar. She is senior product manager at Kora, and she has also worked at top financial institutions in Nigeria across Interswitch, First Bank, and Sterling Bank. She's a product leader. She's also an expert when it comes to digital payments and everything around fintech. So today is going to be a very insightful conversation as she will be talking to us about product operations and strategy and how product managers and product teams, founders and CEO can actually take advantage of product operation skills or product operations department, to drive efficiency across board to also make sure that all teams are working towards the same goal. Because how do we achieve business objective if everybody has a different idea of what is expected of them? So how do we bring everybody together on the product team to make sure that they are working towards the same goal and so that the business can run smoothly as well? Who doesn't like money? Right. So she's going to be sharing a lot from my experience, as a professional, as an expert in this field. And if you have questions for her, right, about product operations, about strategy, about managing both operations and strategy side of the products, as a product manager or as a founder, right, feel free to drop it in the comment section, right? We will definitely get to it and provide you and make sure that we get the answers for you, right? And if this is your first time on our channel, you haven't subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe now and also hit the notification bell so that you can receive reminders or updates when we have a new video like this on our YouTube channel. So let's get straight into today's conversation with Kuburat. I am sure it's going to be worth your time. All right, let's get to it. Hi, Kuburat. It's good to have you here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with
All right, thank you so much. So pretty much as you know, right, we'll be talking about product operations and then how it affects, teams and how teams can even also like take advantage of, product operations skills, on their team to drive productivity and also ensure that everybody is aligned, on meeting business objectives. So I'm sure that everyone, our audience, will be getting like a lot of insight from this conversation. And I also hope to like learn as well, because I believe operation skills is actually for everybody. Everybody needs to have at least, understanding of how to like put systems in place, to be able to like manage their day-to-day run so that they can still focus on other things that are very important, right?
you.
So, yeah, are you ready for us?
Yes, please. I am.
Okay, so let's get started, right? So what are some of the challenges, or let me say common problems that you see from your experience, over 7 years now in the product space, that you see that you have observed that is very much common to product teams, when it comes to daily operations, striving towards business goals and all of that?
Okay, that's a good question because honestly, there are a number of them, right? So for me, I think some of the major challenges that occurs happens when you start scaling, right? You start achieving some level of growth as an organization. So as companies scale and grow, there's this increased complexities that comes with everything. So there is this, like, I won't say misalignment, sort of team misalignment that happens in terms of, okay, you have a number of products you're rolling out from time, features to be shipped. You have different teams. Sales is thinking of, based on market feeling or gut feeling, they're thinking of, oh, this feature is required. The finance team has something else. Compliance risk has a lot of things. So all those complexities comes with this misalignment, right? Across teams in terms of how to keep everyone aligned on the same goal, priority, and most importantly, the overarching strategy of the organization, right? The vision. So it becomes increasingly difficult to align everyone. That's one. There's also, secondly, I think another thing I've observed, which is a major challenge, is data overload. So as you scale or you grow as an organization, over time, you are building, tools, you are amassing data from different sources. So you now have like extensive user bases, you have like a lot of database, you have different systems, a lot of data day in, day out. So there's that data overload that also happens, which is like a major challenge. So you see here, oh, we have this, which one of this is even worth measuring for the product team? Which one of this, where is this data source? Where is this one coming from? It's just a whole lot of mess when it gets to that level as well. I think another major challenge that I see is difficult to prioritize, right? Difficult prioritizing. Prioritization skill, I always tell product managers, is like one of the most important skills that you need to have as a product person, because you are being dragged in different directions, right? Every team, every stakeholder has a need. Your customer has a need. The organization itself has a need, which all of you are working towards. So you are now at the center of all of this, trying to capture everybody's needs, bring it together. Which one takes precedence over what? Which one is more important? Which one is actually urgent, to ship at this point? So prioritizing also becomes increasingly difficult. So without the right tools in place, right, to put all of this together, you just see yourself being swayed in different directions. And those are just some of the challenges that I think, exist.
Thank you for giving like a very detailed answer to that. That's a very like detailed insight that you gave into that, right? So having given us like a detailed insight into what it looks like, for what the challenges can be as a result of expanding here and there, what is going to be priority and all of that. Could you tell us I don't know whether in your own previous experience, would you tell us if there's any point in time where a typical product operations breakdown, where you saw that this was a negligence on operations, or this was as a result of product operation skills, or let me say processes not being available? Could you give us like an insight into that?
I think closest experience I've had to that is poor data management. And to be honest, it was a lot of headache. It was a hassle. It was very terrible because this was a big organization that I scaled. There are different products, different features, a whole lot of things. And the harmonization between the databases and everything were not in sync, right? So it becomes very difficult for you to get out data. So there are different multiple tools scattered all over the organization for data management, right? So you have we had Tableau, we had Looker, we had like a lot of different tools. And at the end of the tools, so this team will be using one, another team is using a different tool. When you want to reach out to, maybe you need a certain data from a particular team, you realize that this data is not available because the tool they are using, the method they are using, the metric they are tracking is totally different. Everything is off point. So that poor data management was a huge breakdown in product operations because it affected a lot of things. We couldn't scale some products as we would love to because we do not have that insight. Imagine you are in an organization, you are scaling a product, you look at a data and you want to like get more insight, but we couldn't trace the data source. Like we're looking for where is this data generated from? Where is it coming from? So I feel like, that's the closest experience I've had for data management. Another one that I think might also be like a breakdown is like silos communication, right? So we had like different teams doing different things within the whole development team, right? So instead of they were not into the agile operations where you have your product team, your design, your engineering team all in sync, product support, everyone is together, right? You guys are aligned on what to build, when to build, and everything. But in this organization, engineering team sits in another organization. I don't know how to explain it. Like there was product organization, was engineering in another place. So it's like you are begging people to come and work. So so that silos community. So engineering is aligned on something they want to do. Product is aligned on another thing. When you reach out to your engineer, it's telling you, no, this is not a priority for me. I just had a meeting today. But like, what's happening here? The business team, on the other hand, is also in another, different group doing their own thing. So there's no synergy, right? around communications, because everyone is working in silos. So that handshake, working in isolation, is also very difficult. And what this does is there's this misaligned goals and vision. Even on the overall organizational vision, everyone is not aligned, working on the same thing at the same time, and there's conflicting priorities. So what is priority to the product team is not priority to the engineering team. Do you understand? So that's a very huge breakdown, which I also think I have, sort of observed.
So that brings me to this question. I mean, at the beginning of this conversation, you talked about that even large teams can even have issues like this. But if we look at it, actually, large teams are supposed to be even be better at this, because we expect them to have structures in place, processes in place, and all of this. So why would there still be gap, when it comes to operations, managing data here and there, making sure that all the teams are working together?
So, like I said initially, right, this the whole challenges, it runs from even the smallest of organizations to the biggest ones. And that is why product operations, right, is very important to also help to, sort of align priorities, drive alignment within teams, and also to drive efficiency and support the product teams to focus on innovation while they are doing these other things. Because these are things that you can't take out of a product team or an organization. So it's like you are growing. It's just like a baby. As you're growing, there is this increased complexities around everything, around the team dynamics. Everyone, they are hiring every day. New people are joining, new processes are coming up, new features are being deployed, new products are being rolled out. There are this increased, as an organization, that's growth, right? It's growth. That's what growth looks like. Because every now and then you have 2 products this year. Next year, you are looking to have 5. Maybe this year, all the features you rolled out were like less than 20. Next year, you're looking at 50. You have a start strength of 20. By next year, you want 60. So this is growth, right? And with growth comes all these complexities. So there is a need for you, as you scale as an organization, to now harmonize and have a very efficient product operation strategy and team to drive alignment as you move along, right? So these complexities exist. You can't take it out. It's just a part of growth in an organization. So all those, the likes of data overload. So as a small organization, you have your challenges. In a small organization, for example, the challenge might be low data, and what's it called? So it might be like not overload now, might be inadequacy of data, right? And tools to manage data. That's for small organization. That's also a challenge, right? So you don't have enough data to drive your product, and you do not have enough tools to manage the data that you have. So that's another challenge for smaller organization. For a big one, it might be data overload. You have too many data. Do you understand? So these challenges don't go away. It goes from small organizations to big, but just different challenges per time. So, and that's where product ops comes in, to know how the stage you are in your journey as an organization and how they can help at that point in time to take you from point A to point B. I hope that clarifies a bit.
Yes, very well, very well. Interesting. And like the way you try to differentiate, I love the way you differentiated the difference between, the problem that a small company is dealing with is different from what a large company is dealing with. So my question is now on behalf of small companies who don't have as much budget as large companies, to be able to get the necessary tools or even maybe expand their teams. So for a product manager that has a very small team, how can such a product manager within a startup, a very small company, manage that process, making sure that at least there's still access to the important data and all of that?
I think on that, it also depends on, as from what we've discussed, you'll see that product operations breakdown or all these challenges are not even, even less of resources, right? It's not even a resource problem, because even big organizations that have billions to spare also experience them, right? So there's a resource part to acquire the right tools, and then there is the management part, right, which is actually much more important. So for a small organization that is looking to just, keep your product operations efficient and manage within what you have. I think it's about getting the right tools. There are different tools that are even free, right? Or cost very little amount just to put in place to harmonize, let's say, communication. So we spoke about communication breakdown. Even apart from big organization, the example I used initially was a breakdown in a large enterprise. Even a small organization, there's communication breakdown where you have a small team and everyone is not aligned on what to do. And this would happen if there is no collaboration tool or clearly defined roles and responsibilities. So as a PM or a product operations person managing a small team, the first thing you want to do is to clearly define your roles and responsibility within the team. So you are using like metrics like RASI, that is the responsible, informed metrics, right? And I think accountable, that's RASI metrics. There's other, I think there's another one too, similar to RASI, that you can use like to have a well-defined process. All you need is like a document detailing what products you have, what features you have, all these other details around operations, how to handle them, who is responsible for what at different points in time. And you have all these documents, you align your stakeholders, bring everyone together, let them understand the details of these documents and their responsibilities, and sign off. This is like the basic tool. What you need is a Microsoft Word document or Google Sheets or something, and you have everything put together. Everyone is aligned. They know what to do. This takes care of communication breakdowns that happens in team. In terms of data issues as well, there are instances where we've worked on managing data from spreadsheets, right? And these are like maybe small organization that still have like ad hoc processes. They do not have tools and everything. And the program manager just have to work on maybe a centralized, whatever they can make, a makeshift, say a Google Sheet, where they put like maybe weekly reports of what's going on, the data they have, number of users, number of transaction volume, value, all those details, whatever it is, they have it there. And you share this document, maybe you host it on Google Drive, share it with everyone in the team on a weekly or daily basis to keep them aligned. So these are some minor tools that you can have access to within the organization to even scale a small team. Also, we are looking at prioritization tools. So talking about prioritizing, we spoke earlier about how when you start having these complexities, it's increasingly difficult for you to prioritize, right? Because everyone has different things in mind, which they think is urgent, right? So for you as a product person working on a small team, you need to get your priorities right. Use prioritization tools, frameworks that are free. So you're talking about some tools like RISE, like Moscow. These are just frameworks, calculations, some things that you use to say, okay, I have 10 features, right? A from sales, B from marketing, C from risk. It's a regulatory requirement or statutory, whatever that you need to meet up with. The rest from your backlog or from things. Out of all those 10 requirements, right? Since everyone wants their own done at different time, you use all these metrics to assign numbers to each of these features. Everyone is on a call. You are assigning numbers based on the business value, the risk opportunity. Do you understand? At the end of the day, at a glance, maybe on an Excel document, everyone is looking at the total aggregate and you are seeing the one that comes first. These are some minor tools that would help you to keep your... So it's not a case of objectivity, right? Or, oh, the program manager loves the sales manager best. That's why our own is coming first or something. It's a case of all of us are on this team. We are using a particular proven framework, maybe called RISE or ICE or Moscow or WSJF, all these frameworks, anyone you're comfortable with, and everyone you are telling them, we are assigning numbers based on this. Everyone assign numbers. At the end of the day, you do the calculation, you sort it, and you see what comes first, what's come next. So all these are minor tools that you can use as a product person in a small organization to scale growth, to harmonize your processes, and prevent communication breakdown, data silos, or even prioritization problems.
Awesome. That's a very deep one actually. And I think one other thing that I picked from that is that the importance of open communication. Like when you mentioned that, have all of them in the same team, assign priorities, numbers, and all of that to, each of those features that everybody wants. Because I know that there's a part where the salesperson comes in and promises a customer, okay, we're going to add this feature
I'm going to
next
have it by
time.
next week.
So even
They
the
will say next
engineers
week.
don't, you understand?
Engineers,
So
what are you talking about? So you get it. So all these
yeah,
things,
so
I learned earlier in my career to use tools to drive all these things, because it kicks out the objectivity or the biases or whatever it is,
mhm.
and everyone is aligned. This is what all of us have done here. So we can see what is more important from what it's scientific. So I don't know if you get it, it's objective.
Yeah.
So all these things are minor things you just need to put in place within the small team to ensure that, you keep the team aligned on a common goal.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. All right, so that takes me to can you run us through your process, with product operations? Because I know that having worked across First Bank, Sterling Bank, Interswitch, and now Kora, yes, there are different dynamics to all these companies, having to work within those companies. So can you take us into what it looks like doing operations, as a product manager, and also what it feels like, combining strategy, making sure that what you are doing is also tying to the entire, business goal, because there are stakeholders to cater to, and there are also, business goals and all of that. So can you just
Yeah. So for business operations, right? I think some of the major elements of business operations that allows you to say that, or that takes care of all these challenges that we have been talking about, are, like, for me, majorly like 3 or 4. The first is an established standardized process. As a product person wanting to like scale operations or make it more efficient, you need to have standardized processes in place for different things. So you have standardized operation flow or process for, say, pre-deployment, or let's even say for idea generation or conceptualization. You have to have like standardized process for pre-deployment, development process, and deployment or post-deployment processes. These are some of the processes, when standardized, will help you to have like consistent or deliver consistently high quality products over time. One, let's start from the ideation flow. So if you have a standardized process of saying that, okay, on a weekly basis, we have brainstorming session or workshops. This includes everyone from everywhere, stakeholders from risk, from compliance, from sales, from marketing, from finance, everyone that has a shot in the organization, right? You put them together and you say, okay, our procedure is for ideation, right? Is on a weekly basis, bi-monthly or something basis. We have this sync where we come to harmonize our thoughts, when we just sort of, look at trends and then bring out initiatives from there, brainstorm around them, document it, and have something in our backlog. What you are doing here is you are aligning everything, right, to the overall organizational goal, because all the stakeholders are there, right? What you are also doing is you are taking away the barriers in terms of pushbacks when you go to these stakeholders in the future that you want to build certain things, because these are things that all of you have ideated on, have agreed to. That's one process. A lot of other processes for ideation. Now you're talking about maybe development or post-development, pre-deployment. All these other features like sprint planning, retrospective sessions, lesson learned sessions. These are some things, processes that you need to put in place to have like consistent workflow for your product development. It means that when you are planning your sprint, there's sprint planning session. Sprint is like usually 2 weeks. You have like PI planning session, which is like every 3 months. And these other things, you do them consistently to harmonize the engineering team. Everyone is in sync on what you are developing and deploying in the next 2 weeks, what you are developing and deploying in the next 3 months. So these are some of small processes that you need to put in place. So having a standardized process for each of these steps is very important. That's one aspect of it. There's also this other part of it where you like have to create like a centralized sort of truth, right? I mentioned an organization where they had a lot of money, that they have different tools for data management. Different teams have different things. When you want to get data from this way, they say, no, this is not how we get our own data, or this is not available, because there are different tools that each team is working with, right? So another thing you want to do is to have a centralized source of truth for your data. So you are like implementing data dashboards that allows you to, everyone on board. So if you are using Tableau, for example, across board, every team has access to this. They know how to use it, right? They are in tune with the metrics you are tracking and how you are tracking the outcomes. So that is another very important thing. And this centralized source of truth also, not only for data, for project management itself. So you are talking about having tools like Jira, having tools like Notion, having tools like which everyone is harmonized on, they can use and they can collaborate with, right? That's another part of it. I think finally is like having like cross-functional alignment, right, within the teams to ensure that you have like shared OKRs. So I, as the product person, cannot be tracking acquisition and adoption for growth, and you as the salesperson don't have it on your OKR or your KPI. It means that, or the marketing person or the business person does not even have anything like that. So it means that you are alone. You at the end of the day, you are pushing product to the market, and sales is saying, no, I beg. My OKR says I must get 20 customers to come in this month. Nothing concern me with your product adoption. And there's nobody that is speaking for you in the market. Marketing is not pushing anything because they don't have it on their OKR or their KPIs. So that shared OKRs or KPIs amongst teams, that harmonization of cross-functional alignment is also very important when you are trying to, scale operations or build a standard operation practice.
Awesome, brilliant. So now let's talk about the skills, right? Yeah. So product operation is not discussed as much, as people want to get into product management. It's always about, okay, I want to become a product manager. Oh, I am a product manager. And nothing sometimes really prepare you for the reality of the job. So at what point should product managers start to build operation skills, right?
For me, what I believe is, as a product management person, right? You are an operations person. In fact, you are like CEO of everything. Everyone just expects you to know about every aspect of the product, including its operations. Its operations includes a lot of things around data, around tools, around, automations and everything. And you as a product manager has to know something. Even if you are working in a standard established organization with its own product operations team, right? You still have that responsibility as a product person to know about what goes into operations of the products you're churning out. Now, big organizations have decided to separate these two tasks. And that's a trend, right? That's a trend that is happening everywhere right now. Even outside organizations, talking about the Fortune 500 companies, everyone is trying to have like a dedicated product operations desk with its own team fully optimized and has the autonomy to manage end-to-end product processes. And this is the reason product management has become a very big career that now has more impact, like more need for innovation and strategic thinking, right? You as a product person you are thinking about a lot of things in terms of how to scale, how to grow, where you are going from here, new features. There's a lot of things. So most times in small organizations where product managers handle product operation roles, it gets increasingly difficult for them to focus on the innovative side of things. And that's why you see big organizations that now have the resources now tending towards separating the two tasks. They still sit together, but like, on dedicated teams, right? But for me as a product manager, I always tell people, have an understanding of the operations as early as you can. Take courses, do trainings, work hand in hand with the product operations team if you have one within the organization to ensure that you automate, you harmonize tools, you have collaboration tools, you harmonize processes and streamline processes, because every other thing is on you. And all these things that is happening is also going into the product work, right? So whether you have a dedicated team or not, as a product person, you need to get into product operations as early as you can. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question or you want me to go more in depth.
Yes, it actually does very well. I think my other question would be, What are your thoughts about product operations being a career path, right? For people actually, just like people say, oh, I want to become a product manager, right? Is it in the African current tech space, right? Is there a chance for success for people who say, oh, yes, I am a product operations person?
If you asked me this question like 5 years ago, I'll say I don't see it. But right now, I see it. I'm seeing it. And it's honestly becoming like the next big deal in products. Product management is becoming saturated, especially if you are like a generalist. Everyone is looking to specialize. Everyone is looking, to dip their hands into the technical bit of things, into the data aspect of products, just, because everyone is now a product manager. Product operations is now the big thing in products. It's the next big thing. And this future trend that we are seeing in AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning, is now even making it a much more attractive product path for people. Why did I say so? Because of this reliance on AI tool to automate our data, automate our reporting, AI tools are now also being incorporated into the part of products development life cycle in itself. Because of all these things, AI cannot work on its own, right? It can't function without human input, right? The product operations specialists are the ones in charge of this. So as the future moves to AI and increasingly depends on how to automate all of these processes, streamline our processes, and get everything, to be automated, product operations will remain relevant. So even now, more than ever, product operation is now an attractive career path in product. Apart from that, there's this shift that I've seen in product operations moving from a strategic role to leadership role. Before now, product operations, they are just like, second, fiddle, something like, just dump this one for the operations guys. Let them get it sorted. This data is tangled. This whole thing is messed up. Let them go and streamline this process for us. It's just like a strategic role where, an operations role, not even strategic role, an operations role as it sounds, where they just, undo all the debts that products team, the program management team themselves do not have time to do, so they can focus on, churning out products. Now it has transitioned or is transitioning from that operations role to a strategic leadership role. In my organization, in my current organization, the next person to our MD is the head of product operations, is the head of operations. So
wow,
that's like the movement that is happening now. So it has become a leadership role. People are now recognizing the impact of product operations. And before you know it, in the next 5 years, product operation will be another product management. It's going to be a career path that people will want to go into. Seeing top people out there, doing well in director roles, in executive roles, and, having this career path. And also with AI and all of that. So yeah, I think it's becoming a very rewarding path and has a future, if you ask me.
yeah. Wow, cool. So, it's our audience, right? Yeah, so this is an opportunity, or let me say, it's the time to start considering, right? Even if the roles are not, I don't know, because I know that there are some companies that have not created the space for it, right? Is there a place of advocating these things, right? Having a having a product operations role, right? How can one even advocate for that internally?
Internally, yeah, that's a very good question. So, like I said, I think the closest experience that I've had to that is the last organization I mentioned where everyone was working everywhere. It's a big organization, but everyone was working in silos. Everything is scattered, data is scattered, the teams themselves, the engineering doing their thing, everyone. We was all over the place. That's the closest experience I would say I have to advocating for product operations, right? So I got into a team and I was meant to take a product. In fact, it wasn't a product. Turn an idea to a product and take it to market and grow it. That was my responsibility. I had a team. And I realized all of this problem because where I was coming from had a very standardized, mature product operation model and processes. And I got here and I'm like, this place is even like almost as big, if not bigger than this other place. And then everything is like this. It means they hadn't gotten their product operations parts right? I had to advocate for that. To say, okay, see, there is a need for us to automate A and B. There is a need for us to standardize this. There's a need for us to have a single sort of truth, a centralized source of truth for some things. And there is a need for us to streamline some processes. And we need a team to do that. We got it. I'm serious. I did that. I say it like almost every meeting. I put it in my reports as a blocker. I put recommendations, right? I'll put the blocker, I'll put recommendations, having a dedicated product team that can help us to do this and this and this. And at the end of the day, we got one within the product organization, which is like within the product team. So there was now a team that handles all these processes, streamline processes, delivery processes, automation, and all those kind of things. It was just a desk of, I think, was it 2 people, 1 team lead and 2 like sort of non-core people, right? That were just helping out. But that was a start of something great, because we also saw increase in the number of like adoption, a number of things, because the product team, the product management team now was able to concentrate on more strategic and innovative things, you know, to grow products when they are not saddled with the responsibility of chasing A and B to understand this. And there's another team that's helping you to do that. So yeah, I think advocating for product operations in whether big organization that just doesn't see the need or a small organization that do not have the capability starts from the product manager. As the product manager, you should be the one to say, to take this product from point A to point B that you've asked, I need so and so things to be in place. Can I get this? Can I get this? And you see how that goes. If you say it loud enough, you communicate it, we back it up with data to show that if we have this, we can achieve much more than what we are doing, and you get the support, even in small organizations. So yeah.
Thank you, Kuburat. You've done a very brilliant job, you know, dissecting and breaking down all these things that even me, I'm beginning to like pick a lot of, you know, insight into managing my own side of, of business too. So yeah, it's been a brilliant conversation and I've enjoyed it so far, and I believe you have too. Right?
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I think that is I don't know if I think there's a question I would like to ask, which is I don't know if there are, just like a product manager has metrics, right? A product manager has metrics, KPIs. Do product operations people also have something like this? What is their own key metrics?
Yeah, of course. You know, I said something earlier. Imagine you have a sales team or a product operations team or marketing team that is not tracking what you're tracking. It makes your work very difficult, right? To even get to where you want to get to, because everyone is like, no, this is not my priority. This is not my metric. This is not my goal. So for product operations, right, most of their metrics that they track also dovetails into the product itself. So you see them tracking metrics that product managers are also tracking. But most importantly, the first on the list that I always would say product operations team track is the cycle time. You know, their major work is to streamline processes, align teams, you know, create alignments and all of that. So cycle time is like a measure of the time to value or the time to market of a particular feature or product. So you are measuring the time it takes to build, to release, and to use. So what time will it take you to deliver from idea to the product itself in the market? So that's time to value or time to market is a very, very critical index that the product operations team track or should track, right? To enable them, you know, measure adequately what is happening and if all the processes they streamlined is actually working as should. So the product operations team majorly, in terms of amplification of operational efficiency, they amplify operational efficiency. It means that you are expected to like have shorter time. So let me paint a scenario. So right now, say everything is manual. My customer has to like maybe make a request for a product, maybe on our website. Let's say, for example, they request manually or send an email to the sales or support team. You pick it up and then you look at it, you engage them on phone. After engaging them, you say, okay, fine, pay money to this account or something. And after that is done, you manually go to a dashboard and add their name to whatever, sign them up, and they start using the product. Maybe that's the manual process. That's like the worst case scenario. Now you have a product operations team that has streamlined that process to say, we have a form online where the person fills, upload all the necessary forms. This gets submitted on an internal dashboard that you have also created as the second level. An admin user goes there, sees these requests, right? that is coming from the customer just instantly. So something that will normally take maybe 2 days before you see the request, you call the customer, you engage them, you go back, you fill your form. Now, the customer is filling it on the website, uploading documents, doing everything. On the internal dashboard, you are seeing this request as it's dropping. You are downloading the form, you are reviewing it, you are approving their access request, and that's it. Can you see how product operations has reduced 2 days work to like a 5 minutes or 2 minute work by just building it to streamline that process? So the most important metric you are tracking at that point is cycle time. You have been able to reduce this access request or approval flow from a 2-day, 48 hours to a 5-minute work. So these are some of the metrics. Another thing you want to track as a product operations person is like adoption rates. So you are streamlined processes. Everything is working fine. How have you moved it dial in terms of adoption? Has this helped you to gain more customers within a certain period? So if the manual process before takes you to get maybe 20 people in a month, now with the 5-minute process, you're expected to get at least 100 people in a month. So you want to track the adoption rate. You want to track all those kind of things like customer satisfaction index, right? Or the net promoter score. So now your customers will rate you higher. It's expected that they do so because all the issues, all the back and forth you do with them for 2 days now take 5 minutes. So you're expecting your net promoter score NPS to grow. You are expecting your customer satisfaction index to grow. So these are some of the metrics that product operations can track to, ensure that they have everything on track and the outcome is as expected.
Okay, thank you very much for providing extra insight into that very one, because I know it's also important. I mean, every team has a KPI. So if we are employing a product operations person, or if we want to create a team or a department for product operations, we need to know what exactly this person is coming to do and how we can actually track and know that, yes, we're making much progress as a company. So yes, thank you so much so now I think my last question would now be towards your masterclass, right, which is coming up I think in a couple of weeks, right? So what can people expect, because I mean, people always advocate for practical experience, show us how it works and all of that. So can you just give us a look into what your class is going to be like? What can they expect?
Yeah. From the class, I think they should expect a lot of things, but key takeouts, they are going to be able to understand end-to-end, right, the role of product operations in products within an organization, especially in the product team. So they are going to get like a clearer picture of how product operation bridges the gaps between products, business team, and all the stakeholders within the organization. They are going to also gain understanding into practical strategies on how to scale product operations, right? Using the right tools, the frameworks, and make more data-driven decisions as a product person. I think they also get a sense of how you can scale your product operations team internally, moving from point A to B to C using the product maturity model. So the product maturity model is a tool that allows organizations to sort of measure where you are. So you are using a tool to know what your product operation maturity level is at the moment and where you want to get to and how to get there, right? So they are going to get more insights into that to enable people that even already have product operations team to know how to move to the next level using this product maturity model, some other stuffs. And also maybe, I don't know, some real life examples, case studies and all of that, just to have more insight into what the world of product operations is like and how important it is to, the product's development process and the organization as a whole.
Okay, yeah, they are in for a very, very brilliant ride. So we can't wait to, have you in class and just have a very good time, giving a very deep insight and also sharing your experience, across, working at different teams and different companies at different times. So it's been an interesting conversation and I look forward to, another time when there will be something else that we'd like to talk about, from your experience talk about with, on this our
pleasure having a chat with the Trevor team. So anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you very much.